Hello, welcome. Lovely to see you here for this incredible conversation with Sumit Gupta, a leadership architect, serial entrepreneur, leader of 10 Gen Partners around commitment and creating the biggest game of your life. This one here is for the visionaries, for the leaders, for people who want to experience something greater in their life, who want to explore their potential, to take a quantum leap in the results you creating in the world. This one here is for you. So the fact that you're watching, I know that's you. So we're really, locked in. We had a couple of technical issues on the day, so there's a couple of edits. The audio in the last section is a little bit quieter, but everything is there for you to hear. It's gonna be super crispy. Oh, I'm excited for you. I'm gonna check back in with you at the end. I take it from there. Without any further ado, let's go. Hello, people. It's Dubem, aka Dubem and Akaya. I'm here with Sumit Gupta for another incredible leadership interview. So the context of this interview is to help you really connect with a deeper level of leadership, purpose, and power, and create results beyond imagination. So Sumit, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. So Sumit is the founder of 10 Gen Partners, a revolutionary organization transforming leadership within organizations to help them grow into businesses into 100 millions and beyond. And this is these companies and founders who want to impact the next 10 generations. So that is amazing, and we look forward to exploring that further as we go on in this interview. Sumit is a serial entrepreneur, a techie, and we connected through a group that he created for incredible leaders, coaches, catalysts from around the world. So who Sumit is to me, it's been a pleasure working with you in this group for the last 7 months, or so. And you really showed me a level of purpose, the power of commitment, in the world. You showed me a whole new level of, of leadership and what it really means to be unreasonable, and be of service. I've seen you travel to different countries and meet us guys in the group personally. Obviously, this interview is a byproduct of that. But things I've learned from you around, creating powerful context, inviting people into playing, the biggest, game of their life, really expanding the level of ambition and possibility has really been transformative, like life-changing, and things I'll never forget. And that's only a glimpse, of this. And, I wanted to sit down with you to speak about one of those things, which I've learned from you, and you speak a lot about, which is about declaring, impossible games and commitment and creating that in the world. So over this next half an hour or so, we're really going to get into that. Okay. Is there anything you want to share,
No, thank you for bringing me on. And I would just say that it has been an equal pleasure to see you and to work with you for the last 7 months or so.
You're welcome. So just to, start on base camp, right, of commitment and, what commitment means to you. When you speak about commitment, what are you, talking about?
For me, commitment is the energy. Commitment is the energy behind anything that we create or anything that happens in life. Commitment is the energy that I use to make that happen. To put it very simply, that's how I would describe it. And one more thing, commitment is not less or more. I see the current outcome that I have in life very consistent with the commitment that I have. So the question is not whether I am 50% committed or 0% or 100% committed. The question is, what am I committed to? In a way that my life looks the way it looks right now. Right? So not like less or more, but what am I committed to? What am I not committed to? Because of which this is the outcome. And that is a question for learning. That's a question for self-discovery. That's a question for empowerment. That's a question for creating better futures. And you start by identifying, how am I creating the future or my life so far?
So is it sort of like you're kind of going upstream, as it were, and you're seeing the results that you're getting are a byproduct of the commitment you have and what you're committed to.
Yeah.
So not from a place of like judgment on beating oneself up, but from an objective place, like it's like, this is what I've actually been committed to. This is what I might have been saying I'm committed to, but this is what I've actually been committed to.
Absolutely. Like we are doing this interview. Can we say that we were committed to doing this interview?
Yes.
And how do we know?
Because we're doing this.
Because we are here, right? So similarly, if I have an outcome, I have a result in my life, how do I know whether I was committed to? Because the result is there. Now I don't have an outcome. How do I know whether I was committed? Again, the result tells me. Not what I think, not what I felt, not what I might have said, but the result shows me what am I committed to.
Then in your work, because you've worked a lot with entrepreneurs and founders and CEOs and people such as that, leaders in the world. And this is not just, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to be a leader. You can be a leader just as a way of movement. What have you discovered about commitment in leaders that really changes the game, for them? What are maybe the blind spots that they were unaware to, that there was impacting them, and what's the insights that you've seen that have really changed, the game for them?
Yeah, most people plan for life. Most people start with strategizing, planning. I would even say most people do not go for what they want, they go for what they think is possible for them. And when I say most people, I include myself, because for most of my life, I have gone for some definition of what I think is for me, what I think is beyond me. And I've never really seen that commitment can actually help me create what I want, not what I think is possible, or not what people around me have told me is possible for me or people like me. And for me, that itself is a huge shift when I talk about commitment. It starts from what do I want, not what I think is possible for me, not what I think is feasible, not what I think I can do, but what do I really want? You were talking about purpose earlier, and most people don't live their life from what do they want or like what do they fully care about, but what do they think is possible for them? What do they think is realistic? For me, that's a waste of human potential. And again, no judgment here, but simply noticing that there is so much more possible than what we think we can do or achieve, or what others think and might have communicated to us that we can think of and plan for and achieve.
And why is that? Why is it that, a lot of us, we don't really go for what it is that, we really want, or go to that level as it were? Like, what is it that gets in the way of connecting with that deeper level of want and desire?
I think we can go into a lot of discussion on this. To keep it very
we only
simple,
got a certain amount of time,
to keep it very simple, right? Like we grew up like that. Like it's like a fish swimming in water. The fish doesn't know that it is swimming in water. Fish doesn't even know what water is unless the fish is taken outside of the water, and suddenly, this is water. There is another world outside of water. When we grow up in our family, we grow up in our schools with our elders, and we think that, and for a child it is very normal, right, to think that whatever is communicated, whatever we see in movies, in books, in the language, in the people around us, that becomes our world out there. But what we don't see is that that's just linguistic phenomena which we call our world. And many times, for me, it was almost like 37, 38 years of old age that I saw, that's just the world that somebody created, somebody told me. And there's a hugely different world out there. And I didn't even realize that this was like me being a fish swimming in water without even realizing that, again, this is the way it is. This is the way a man should be. This is the way we are supposed to be. What is reasonable, what is not reasonable, what is honest, what is not honest, what is polite, what is arrogant, all of these definitions, we don't create it for ourselves. We are all just living into it without ever questioning it. So for me, there is no reason. I mean, that's how we grow up. That's how a child learns to walk. And sometimes we think that if you never tell a child that you can run, probably the child will think that human beings' potential is only in walking and not in running. And I would say that's true for everything that we do. whether it's walking or running or doing something in our life, with our hobbies, with our families, with our friends, and so on.
Well, then how do you connect to what you want? Because I think that's also the other, question that I find on a personal level, right? Like, and also within, people that I work with, like, okay, yeah, everything's made up, right? And I'm living within this fishbowl, or I'm swimming in water. But then I put my head out of that water. Okay, cool. There's more and more out there. But what do I actually, want? And how do I know that's what I actually want? And then there's so many possibilities now. How do I choose, what I want? So could you speak to that? Like, actually, how can people connect to what it is that they truly want?
I think this, to not make it too complicated, I think this question of purpose, I think we have a romanticized idea with it. For me, it's very simple, right? Try out multiple things, see what you like, see what you want, what is something worthwhile for you to spend your life upon. And that will be different for everybody. And that can also change for you. Like, for a long time, I thought computers was that thing. I really enjoyed working with computers, programming with computers, leading tech teams. It didn't seem like work to me. But then there came a time when it started feeling like work. It started feeling like something which I was good at, but I didn't want to do. And today what I am doing is another level of this. And maybe in the future, this will become boring or drudgery, but today it is not. So this can change for a single person, but this can also change with so many factors. The world around us changing. It doesn't have to be like big one purpose for life. Today I'm sitting in front of you, so that's my purpose. That's like, I'm not being forced to sit here, and I'm choosing to be here. And then when I walk out, I will walk out to do what I want to do in that moment. Like, I don't eat a lot. Like, I have a commitment to my fitness. But if I am walking around today later and I see people sitting in bars and I want to take a beer, I will just choose it. I will not make it a guilt trip either way. I will choose it, and I will maybe eat 2,000 calories today. Who knows?
So in some ways, is there like there's like a fluidity of commitment, like in the now, but also what I was also getting from that was a sense of like it kind of doesn't matter. Like, it does matter and it doesn't matter what you choose to be committed to, because things will change over time anyway. But when you're in the game, as it were, when you're actively engaging with that commitment. So this is just coming to me now. Like, it's more about the intensity of relationship with the commitment than the specific thing that you're actually committed to. Is that it?
I mean, it depends, right? So first of all, yes, it doesn't matter, but I would still say that it matters that you commit and you do what you do from a place of commitment, right? If you zoom out, like, we are nothing. Like, in this whole universe, me and you is not even specks of that dust. So nothing really matters. But I think it matters that we do it. Like, no human being matters, but every human being, that they can live a life of potential, of happiness, of fulfillment, which is not like all happy, which is like the whole spectrum of human emotions. I think that is very important. So that matters. And I think another thing, I think, which you're pointing towards, is when we commit to something long term as entrepreneurs, as leaders, then what matters is that commitment stays for a period of time, that it doesn't become fickle. It doesn't become, okay, I committed this for my company. Now we are 2 months in and it is not working out. So I just move on to something else. For long-term commitments, you have to be willing to every day, every moment, test your commitment. Am I really committed to this? Or there's an easy distraction, or I can give up and now have hundreds of reasons why I shouldn't be doing that. But then that can be where our hidden commitments, or like a real test of our commitments. I can say I'm committed to this, but my actions, if I give up after 2 months, especially something which was supposed to take years, then I'm not really committed to that. Like, it's like you planting a tree today and hoping it to bear fruit in 1 month or 2 months. It doesn't work like that. Again, depending on this interview, we can do this in 30 minutes. But if you want to work on something, if I want to build muscle, like, I can't say it doesn't happen in 3 weeks. I need 3 months, or maybe depending on what my commitment is, maybe even 3 years. And for leaders and entrepreneurs, sometimes that journey can be of decades. So then that question of sticking with it, intensity, then that matters.
So is there something there about like creating that bigger game to commit to an expansive level of growth, over time? I love what you said there about experiencing the vicissitudes of human emotion, and that in the bigger game that you play, right? Like kind of the more, I guess, fearful it is for you, but also the more long-term the changes, then the more long-term the impact is, in the world, that gives you a greater ground, as it were, to really explore that commitment and explore if that is actually the thing you're committed to. Because a little technical interruption there, but we're gonna get back into it for this second half of this incredible interview on commitment. So thank you, Sumit. So to pick up from the question I was asking before, right? So is the power of commitment is that it really opens up an expanded context to discover who you are as a human being, to discover your potentiality. Like, it's not so much about the thing that you're creating, is opening up that context.
Absolutely. Like even like if I look back at my life, for most of my life, I was so afraid of failing, or like even appearing from the outside, that I aimed for a goal or a commitment and that did not happen. That even stopped me from even committing to what I wanted. So I played safe. And I see this is so many people do, because the way we see ourselves when we are not able to hit a commitment, or others see us, which is under this notion of success and failure, making it or not. And once you detach yourself from that, you really commit. Today, I commit to see what is possible for me, not to succeed or fail. For me, that has been the big unlock. And that's a difference from committing to something which even you can't think, plan, imagine, dream, and going beyond that. In fact, seeing what most people think is their possibilities or limitation as a starting point, not as the ending point of their dreams or of their commitments.
The commitment to see what is possible, for me, that is, that's really, really key. And funny what you said about the last bit about the possibilities and limitations being a starting point, because that's why my company is called Creating Beyond Imagination. It was like imagination is the start, like it's not the end, of the journey. It's like the ship that gets put out into the sea. You go on that adventure and you don't know where you're going to go or how you're going to do it, but it's about being in the sea, being in the exploration, of it. So, in terms of the commitment in business, let's say, right, where you have goals, you have objectives, you have things you have to track. So there's like things you have to measure, but then there's the endless possibility, of commitment, right? Like, how do you, balance that? Because a lot of people, I include myself at times, like, I don't want to go. If I go into that big wide world of commitment or possibility, like, I'm going to get lost and I'm going to forget about the smaller details. But if I stay in just the smaller details, I'm not going to get to be in that expansive exploration of discovery. How do you harmonize that? How do you balance that?
I think being a leader, or being even a human being, is constantly balancing this tension between the infinite and what is finite, right? We are infinite beings in one way. Our dreams, our imaginations, our ability to love, to care, to give ourselves wherever we are is unlimited. And yet our resources, our body, time, everything is finite. We can measure it. And that's always our tension, right? We can imagine everything, but when we move in the world out there, it is very finite steps. I can plan for 10 years, I can dream for 10 years, but I have to live life 1 year, 1 day, 1 minute, 1 second at a time. There is no avoiding that. And we can create an airplane, we can make flying possible for human beings, but no one human being can create an airplane or even fly an airplane alone. We need coordination between people, which are all finite resources. And we need materials to building something that is finite, right? The possibility of what we can achieve is infinite. We can go to the Mars, but do we even have rockets today that can go to the Mars? And then to create those materials from those materials, that is always finite. And that's always a balance between how far do we commit. But for me, without ignoring the finite part, first of all, as I was sharing earlier, right, I am committing to something not to achieve the prize, which is the outcome that I want, but to see what is possible for me. So even better than producing the outcome is a bigger prize hidden in who you become in the process. For me, that is always bigger than the outcome itself. And this is both individually and when you work with teams. Like even if a team sets a huge commitment, which is, let's assume 10 times bigger than their current commitment, and they fail at that, let's say they are only able to hit 30% of that, who they will become in the process will be more valuable than that result, which will change their entire trajectory. Forget about that just one commitment. And now, how do you create that? Now that is finite. Now I cannot say I will do everything. I cannot say I will talk to unlimited people. I have to pick one. I have to start with one, and then the second one, then the third one. I cannot say I will do like whatever, but I have to plan it hourly. I have to plan it, give it some structure in the finite time that I have, finite resources, including money that I have.
Well, could you speak more to that specificity? Because what I've seen, in myself as well as in people that I've worked with, just in the world, that there is a fear at times to be specific, to say, I want to commit to, let's say, working with this company, or I want to commit to making this amount of money. And it's a funny thing. Sometimes people are like, but I don't want to like limit myself. It's like, let's say they made like 30,000. It's like, if I say I'm going to make 300,000, I'm limiting myself, right? But there's that fear to get specific. So could you speak to that, and what's the power of the specificity, within the commitment? What does that, open up?
Yeah. And I think this just builds upon that, right? We are infinite. We can dream infinitely, but we have to create with our finite resources. And you always use this example, right? You cannot go to a restaurant and say, give me good food or give me healthy food, even though that would be that possibility. That there would be a lot of creativity if you go to a restaurant and say, create whatever you want for them, for you. There's so much possibility. But if a restaurant is operating, it's busy, it has to serve a particular customer, it has a menu for that purpose, right? So you can only pick one from a menu. And that's the purpose, or that's the power of specificity. So I can say I want to work with politicians, but the moment I pick a name, then it becomes real. And that's how you measure, that's how you hold yourself accountable. That's how you move in the finite world without any limit, but there is still a finite action you can take. Otherwise, everything just happens here. In the real world, you have to take real action. I cannot say I will go 10 kilometers away. I have to move in whichever capacity. If I run, even then it is step by step. If I walk, it is step by step. If I get into a car, even then it is faster, but there is no way I am here today and I am there 10 kilometers. I have to be specific. And if there is an obstacle, if there is a roadblock, I have to find another way. So that is the finite part of life.
And what's the harmony like with that, with having the big, commitment, a big ambition, and then actually like, laying it out, right? Planning it. What's the harmony of planning and action? Because what I see, and this is obviously the general business ethos, right? You got your 5-year plan, or you got your 1-year business plan. Everything's got to be very detailed and got to know the steps. And obviously, there's a power in that, but at the same time, maybe that could be limiting in a sense. So, in yourself and your work, with people who you work with, how do you harmonize that balance between planning and action?
So for me, anything that you can plan for, you don't need commitment.
Okay.
Right. So for me, commitment starts beyond planning. That I can't see the whole way. But I can think, what will I do today? I can plan for today. I can do some small steps in the finite world. But my commitment is so big that I cannot plan for the next 10 years. If I can plan for the next 10 months or 10 years, then I don't need commitment for that.
So is that an indicator in itself?
That's an indicator. Yes. Yes. But again, that dimension, right, that you mentioned, it's. I would use the different word. I would use the word context and the content. So the content of your life will always be finite. time is finite, right? You can say I have infinite time, but time still passes minute by minute and second by second. And we can get really metaphysical and say there is no time. We can do that also. I can work with 100 people. I can create a team of 100 people, but if I want to bring people on my team, I have to enroll them one by one, right? I have to enroll them in some process, and that is finite. So the context is infinite, and I have to remember the context, right? Because the context is almost like a future which I am declaring, and then I am walking into it.
I like that. Context and content.
Yeah.
The context is like the field.
Yes.
The content is the specific.
Content is what you do today.
Plays in the day.
And the context is what you are going for, what your life is for, what you are creating together as a team. And they have to match. But they don't have to perfectly fit, and you don't have to see the whole way forward towards the future that you're declaring.
In some ways, the context then kind of dictates the content or allows the content to show up. And this actually led me to another question, because I was thinking about the commitment and then thinking about creating commitment in others.
Yeah.
So in expanding your context and that commitment, and obviously you work with teams, what's the power in creating commitment in others? And just very briefly, because I hear a lot of people say, someone works for me, but like they don't do what they say they're gonna do, and that's a whole thing about integrity and agreements. That's a whole other thing. But I'm trying to ask about the power of commitment in creating commitment in others, in opening that space up in others. What have you seen about that, about a leader setting, a greater context and the power of creating commitments in others?
Absolutely. For me, commitment creates everything, right? And one of the ways you create other people is by committing others. Not by motivating them, not by inspiring them, not by giving them tools. And you can do all of that. But when you commit somebody, they will figure all of that out on their own. And anything which we can do in teams, which we do with other people, it starts with you creating commitment for yourself first, and then you creating somebody else. For me, that's the glue of leadership.
Could you just tell a bit about creating somebody else? Like, what do you mean when you say creating somebody else?
Creating somebody else is simply using your language to speak who somebody else is for you, and then having them commit to something specific. To give you an example, I might say to somebody, you are a champion. Like, that's why I'm sitting in front of you. That's why I'm speaking. Now, can I ask you, can you commit to me that by the end of tomorrow, you will complete this? Something very specific. And that might be beyond their current planning, current imagination, current skills. And then that person might say, okay, I don't see a path, so I can't commit. But for me, commitment is that you are willing to commit because you don't see the path. If you see the path, then you're giving me a hope. You're giving me something which doesn't require commitment. For me, that's okay that you don't know. I require you to commit and then figure it out on the way. And no matter what happens, I'm not going to measure you or judge you in success and failure in all of those elements because of what happens. But for me, commitment is you are completely free. I am telling you, you are more capable than what you think you are. Now go out and commit and figure it out, because the figuring it out will happen because of the commitment. The commitment doesn't happen because of the figuring it out.
So in a sense, like, and I know we've talked about entrepreneurs, leaders and teams, but I'm just thinking about like life in general, right? Like being a leader in life is creating that commitment and committing others around you to expand themselves. As a sense to me, it's like there's an expansion when you create someone and you create an expanded possibility that they don't know how to do. You're opening a way for them to grow and have that journey of discovery, for themselves. Is that?
Absolutely right. Commitment creates everything else. Once again, I will repeat that. You don't need money. If you need money, create commitment to creating money. You don't need a team. If you need a team, create a commitment to creating a team. You don't need more energy. You don't need more fitness. If you need more fitness, if you don't need more physical energy, create a commitment to creating. So you can't be lazy if you're committed. You can't be broke if you're committed, because your commitment can create everything else. And commitment doesn't require knowing. Commitment doesn't require figuring it out. Commitment doesn't require you having to do the same thing in the past. Commitment does require courage. But commitment is the the source of motivation. Commitment is the source of inspiration. Commitment is the source of togetherness in a team. Commitment is the source. It just whatever the buzzwords that we use in leadership, they don't come before commitment, they come after commitment. And if you're lacking those, you don't need those, or you don't need a path to those. You need to commit to them, and then the path will be in front of you, and you will figure it out.
So what I'm really getting from this is it's like the relationship with the unknown, and that when you commit, like things come up you never, would have imagined, as it were. You can go into a whole new level of action. Could you speak to that a bit more?
I will simply share an example, and I always use this example that if I have a knife today, right now, and I cut your leg up, right, and it's bleeding, you will not think, you will immediately do the next thing. And that could be, let's say, picking up the phone and calling the ambulance. But let's say your phone is not here with you. Even then, you will not spend 10 minutes thinking about what you should do. You will just open the door and run out until you can find somebody, and then you will not see whether that person is busy or not. You will not see whether that person is distracted or not. Whether you will not consider whether this person will like you or not. You will simply make the next request. You will not now sit planning and discussing with this person, what should we do because my leg is bleeding. You will say, let's do the next thing, like call the ambulance or take me to the hospital, do whatever you have to do. Let's make it absurd. Let's say this room is locked. We figure out this room is locked. You will do whatever you have to do because you are so committed. Now you get committed to save your leg. You will break this glass up, and you will not think which furniture should I take and throw first. You will just pick the first one. If you are really hurting, if you are really committed, and the thing here is commitment is not some superhuman skill. Commitment is a skill which we all have used when something mattered so much to us. Let's say you walk out of your house in the morning, you are committed to get back home in the evening. Even if that means sometimes the whole public transport is not working, you will basically hitch a ride, which you would not do otherwise. So we all have done things in the past for ourselves or for others when we really got committed. Now, those things cannot come from planning. Those things cannot come from a discussion. And we might have a short discussion, a 5-second discussion or a 10-second planning, but in the end, action is what makes things forward. And just taking this analogy forward, right, the way many of the people that I work with are able to do more in less time is actually by cutting off discussions, cutting off debates, planning, and simply see what is the next thing which is required. If we get committed, let's assume next 3 months, we get committed to doubling the business. If we get committed, there is no time to spend in discussion and planning. What is the next action? Who is the next person I need to call? And simply pick up the call. You might even need to decide what to speak to that person after that person picks up the call, not before that. Because even that would be time not utilized best in your commitment. If you are commitment, you will figure out. If you are committed, your commitment will tell you what to say to that person when this person picks up the phone, not beforehand. I would say that's how we all consume time, because we want to be good, we want to be polished, we want to be comprehensive, we want to look good, we don't want to look scrappy, and because of that we end up making 1 request a day when we could be making 20 requests a day if we don't care about how will this look, am I prepared, what will I say. If you get committed to something as badly as my leg is bleeding, I have to be in the hospital or I might lose my leg, you will produce unimaginable results. And I'm telling you that does not require a lot of discussion, a lot of planning, and you will do the required amount of discussion when it is required from commitment, not to get to commitment.
So that's really, wow. First of all, thank you for sharing that. It really hit me in that it's like there's so much gets lost in the thinking, so much in the should I, shouldn't I, so much in the discussion, so much in the planning. And it's like more committed to the thinking, to the discussion, and committed to the context, the expanded context. So the I guess the core tenets, what would you say then are the core tenets of actually creating that action, creating that inspired action, in the world for yourself and for others?
For me, again, commitment creates everything, right? Wherever you are missing action, you are committed to something else. So are you committed to discussions? Are you committed to getting it right? versus moving forward right now and maybe getting it wrong the first few times. Everything is created by commitment. If you don't have money, create a commitment to creating money. And then do what the commitment tells you to do. In the world of leadership, like nothing happens in your head. You have to get out of your head. And when teams are talking, nothing happens in discussions and planning. For a leader, the powerful move is making a request, making an offer, which then results in a commitment from somebody else. That is what moves the world. Right? I might, if I have to hire 10 people today, I might go out and individually hire 10 people. But if I want to hire 100 people today, I can commit somebody to hire those 100 people. Or I can just acquire one company and get these 100 people. But all of those are conversations and all of those are requests, offers, which will result in some commitment. Both yes and no are commitments. But planning and discussion doesn't have a yes and no. Because many times, going back to success and failure, we don't like the no, so we end up planning and we don't even get the no's, and as a result, we don't even get the yeses.
So it's the power. I love that was very different. Like the no is the commitment as well.
Absolutely.
Like getting no's
is a commitment.
Yes. Like that's actually part of it. You want that in many ways because that's a clarifier.
Yes, absolutely. And most people are not succeeding because they are not failing enough. You're not getting the yeses because you're not getting the no's.
Okay, so just to wrap it up, as it were, right? What are some practical, things that like people can take away? Can take away from this, like immediately, and put into action to, elevate that level of commitment or really commit to what it is that they really want, truly want.
I would say even like simply practicing commitment to any area of your life. So simply asking, what do you want? Pick any area and go beyond what is reasonable. Go beyond what you think. Go beyond what you have done in the past. Go beyond what you have evidence, what you have knowledge, what you have proof of doing. Go beyond that. And just ask yourself, if I get fully committed, what is my commitment requiring me to do? Not what I like to do, not what I know to do, not what is comfortable for me to do, but what is my commitment requiring me to do? And once you have that action, then nothing else matters. You just go out and do that. And you will move mountains, you will make progress worth of multiple years in just a few months. If you can stick to a big commitment, specific in time, specific in the finite world that we live in, and then ask, what is the next action that commitment is requiring me to do? Just like if my leg is bleeding today, what will I do? If you bring that level of urgency, that level of immediateness to whatever commitment you create, the right action will always present you. Might not be easy, again, might not be comfortable, but then again, that's the point. And the point of taking that action is to see how much you are capable of, not to actually achieve that. And even if you don't achieve that, you will still have grown. When you set reasonable goals, whether you achieve it or not, you don't grow, you remain the same. When you set unreasonable goals and commit to them, whether you hit those or not, whether you reach halfway or not, you always grow. That's the biggest outcome of commitment, is that you become more, not just that you produce more.
Well, I think that's a wonderful way to complete this interview. That's a great summary of everything that we've spoken about. So thank you, Sumit, for this wonderful interview. Thank you, everyone, for watching. So drop in the comments, what resonated, what actions that you may take from this. Subscribe to the channel. We got loads of heat coming, like from these amazing intangibles, of leadership. How to really elevate your leadership in the world. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Same here. Thank you, Dubem.
Wow, there it is. Thank you for watching, listening. I hope you had as much fun as I did. This is a wonderful, wonderful piece I'm going to continually refer to. So drop in the comments below what really resonated with you. What are you committing to afresh? Like, what even came up for you in regards to that? Because I'd love to hear from you. Listen, subscribe to the channel. We've got more interviews coming. One commitment that I'm putting out there is a commitment to posting one video a week. So that be these interviews, me speaking, just one video a week. That's a commitment that is really coming fresh from me in really listening and posting it out there. And this isn't the end of the conversation. This piece and this channel is part of a bigger movement and a mission for me, which is to relieve the suffering of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, feeling stuck, and support visionary leaders and catalysts into growing to a new level of leadership, purpose, and prosperity. So in line with that, I'm running a gifted workshop masterclass around creating the biggest game of your life. That will be online. You can see the link below from that, of course, depending on the time when this video has come out. From the date this one is being released, these ones will be in a couple in September, and I'm doing a one-day event also in October in line with this movement. If you're watching this way past that time, still check the link below, because I'll be doing consistent ongoing events online and in person. I would request, share this with someone in your life who you feel could really get so much from this, that they have so much potential and ability, and they could get so much from connecting with a fresh level of commitment in regards to that. Share it with as many people as possible. Of course, subscribe. We've got many things coming up. Check out the events, below. And we're keeping it flowing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's always a pleasure. I really just share that from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you investing your time here, trusting, me, and then speaking with Sumit today as a conversation that could give value for you in your life. So baseline. I just want to share love and appreciation for that. Also, I forgot, we'll link below to Sumit at 10 Gen Ventures, so you can check more out about that too. Much love, much blessings. Take care.